They love him so much. And it's because he created opportunities for Black people to build wealth. And he started with the youth. And when the youth were employed, the crime stopped. They don't have to go jack no cars. They don't have to go do these things because they have something that will keep them occupied. And that's where the money needs to be, not in militarizing these areas and creating this presence. And now you're harassing people when you got places like you said, New Orleans. He's not going to dare go to New Orleans. You know why? Because it's a red state. Even though there's more crime in New Orleans than there is in Baltimore, he's not going to touch New Orleans because it's a red state. He's only going after, this is part of his revenge tour. He's only going after people that he deems to be his opponent. And he's politicizing everything. And that's the thing I have a problem with.
Even here in Jackson, Mississippi, our governor was one of the first to say he would send the National Guard, and sent National Guardsmen to DC. But you look at the crime rate here in Jackson.
That's ridiculous.
And I've been told charity begins at home, and then
in your own backyard.
If you want to take care of crime and address crime, you start at home. And the thing is, we're still reeling here in this state behind the biggest welfare fraud scandal in state history. And guess what? That didn't involve Black folks. That didn't involve nobody that looked like us, but that was crime, okay? But we are serious about crime. The other side of this that's hilarious when you really think about it. If there was any sincerity about this, and we were really talking about being active in fighting crime, you take someone who has been convicted of crimes, is now under investigation. If these files ever come to light, wonder whose names and fingerprint may be all over them. I'm not saying, I'm not suggesting, I'm just saying. So it's like, are you really the poster child for addressing crime?
It's just the ridiculousness of the whole administration. Everything about this administration is completely, utterly ridiculous. But Dr. Charm, you want to say something about the statistics?
Yes, that whole that we're 13% of the population, but 50% of the crime, that they cherry picked homicide and robbery. And so that's only a small percentage of what type of crimes exist. You've got property theft, which white Americans lead the property theft for sure. They're the leading group. And overall, this is how I think there's a book called How Statistics Lie or something like that. That I never got to read it, but it's always was referenced because you can make statistics do whatever you want them to do. So you're spouting this, and one thing is it's arrests. An arrest doesn't necessarily lead to a conviction. So you have more Black arrests for these particular crimes. They may not get convicted for them, but at the end of the day, the real stats are that white Americans have 70% of total arrests, and Black Americans for 26%, and that was from 2019. So it's probably still reflective about similarly. But I will have to say that I agree with Dr. Sabrina that this is socioeconomic. I have a house in Chicago. I lived in Chicago for almost 10 years. Never in my life have I ever seen in my life young Black men begging on the street for money. Like usually when you see homeless people or people that are indigent, they may be older. Just that had been my experience. I had never seen in my life like 20-some-year-old Black men. And then I looked and researched in Chicago, the young Black male unemployment is at about 50%. So, and I would give them money because I'm like, I'd rather, give you money off the corner than you robbing me. That was just my mindset. So here's the alternative. If they're not selling drugs, or commit carjacking or other kinds, it forces people into an underground economy.